Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thoroughly Thriving, where talent meets strategy and innovation drives success. On today's episode, we will take a deep dive into the world of human capital solutions, explore the latest trends in recruitment, and share actionable insights to help businesses grow and thrive. Whether you're a seasoned executive, a budding entrepreneur, or just passionate about the future of work, you are in the right place. Well, let's get started on building the future one conversation at a time. Man, I am excited. This has been in the lab. This has been in the incubator. We've been kicking around the idea of doing a podcast, of really talking about relevant, trending topics, having key opinion leaders, having really pioneers in our industry, both on the human capital side and then certainly on the life sciences side.
Yep.
And this day has been one that's been filled of anticipation, wonder, and excitement. So, Sean, man, this is going to be first of many. How excited are you?
Darren, I'm over the moon, man. I'm so pumped and so excited to kick off the first of many and, to share a little bit about our story today. I think is a really apropos way to get started.
I think that is the right way to start things off. Really, to tell our audience um, what was our why for, first of all, starting Thorough Group, which is the name of our human capital recruitment firm. And one of the things that we get to do is do this weekly podcast and really connect with our valued clients and valued customers as well as candidates. So, all the above, we're excited to connect with through this platform and through the others that we've been utilizing for years and years and years. So, Sean, walk us through some of your why. What was your why to leave, corporate America, so to speak, and hang your own shingle with your buddy Darren? Tell the good people again, our candidates, clients, and I'm sure a lot of family members at first are going to be listening in and tuning in. We need all the support we can get, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Darren, it's funny. I get two questions most often since we've gone out to start our own thing. I think number one, the first question that we get asked is this, the why. And number two is we get, how did you come up with the name? And so I think it's great that we start with this question first because ultimately the why is foundational. As you mentioned before, we talked about, Simon Sinek is really big on making sure you find your why and you understand how that works out. And so I think, for us, I can speak for me and my family, my wife and my children, the why was less about, jumping away from something, but jumping into something. I think that we had a great life, a great career, a great company to work for. Really enjoyed my last company and had some great leadership that I got to work with and support and great clients. But, it was never fully my own thing, right? And I think, everyone reaches a point, I think, in life, in different seasons, different areas where you begin to think about the what ifs. You begin to think about what kind of a legacy am I leaving in the future? What kind of an impact am I making? And ultimately, after conversation between our wives and our families, the decision to step out and to do this together, just was the absolute made the most sense. I think it was something that, wanting to leave something that my children could be proud of, wanting to do something that, that I could be proud of and I could leave a legacy for my family with, but also continue to make a personal impact in the lives of people who have given their lives to support the development of medicines and global health and other things that we only get to play a small part in it, but man, I'm proud of the part that we play. It is a small but mighty part. And so to be able to step out onto our own, to be able to create and innovate and develop some of the ideas and dreams that are in our hearts, man, I couldn't imagine doing it with anyone else. But tell me a little bit about your why. Why did you jump out? And because, man, I'll tell you, a lot of people would look at where you came from and say that was a pretty risky choice to make.
Risk is sometimes, the tariff you pay to leave the shores of predictability. And I'll share with you, Sean, that I was very fortunate to work for some of the world's largest human capital global recruitment firms. I mean, these are billion-dollar firms, and I am honored and was honored to really lead very, very large teams and large businesses for these large organizations. But what I found through my journey is that I was able to glean, I was able to amass, I was able to really capture a lot of best practices and work with some of the best people in the industry.
Yep.
As a result of that, again, I was able to really equip myself with a lot of tools. And then the question started to arise, um, why not me? Why not take those experiences? Why not take those tools? Why not take those best practices and build something with people that you truly admire, um, love, and want to partner with? And so, as I took a step back, and our path goes back 9 years ago, and we met. It was in a serendipitous type of dynamic where our wives set us up on a mandate. I was a bit apprehensive, but over some noodles and some Kung Pao chicken and some orange chicken at PF Chang's, a relationship was birthed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so not only did I ingest copious amounts of MSG, but a bromance ensued a bit. So, and then we started to work together. First for the same company in different operating units, but then we worked together. And I knew
Yeah.
that in some way that our paths would cross and come full circle. And so yeah, my why is it was time to hang my own shingle. My why was a lot of identification with what you said about leaving a legacy, a living legacy for my children and my children's children. And more importantly, helping our clients and our candidates meet their endpoints, meet their milestones, progress the industry of global health, if I could commoditize that in that aspect. But so really excited for that. And look, every company, big, medium, or small, has an identity.
Yep.
You have to have an identity, right? That's
Yep.
your central kind of epicenter that you work from. And I think we should share with our audience what was the genesis of Thorough Group. And Sean, when I think about the word thorough, it evokes, it exudes, it's apparent to me that it has a positive connotation, right?
Yeah.
When I think of someone that does a thorough job, I think about completeness. I think about fullness. I think about no stone turned unturned. And while I thought that was appropriate for us because that's how we support our candidates and clients and people in the community, it's also a melding. It's also a combining of our last names, Thevathasan and Burroughs. And I'm glad that you humored me because it was a bit of a throwaway comment when I came to you
Yep.
and said,
Yep.
what about putting our last names together? It combines, informs thorough, and we're going to have group. We also get to work with some amazing people, both internally and externally. So for the good people out there, wonder no more. It's a bit of a double entendre from thorough being our two last names and thorough being how we approach and really see
Yep.
things through.
Yeah, no, and I think it is funny. I remember having that first kind of partner comment conversation around what should we name it, and I remember you throwing the name out, and me just kind of thinking, and sure, whatever, let's see what else we can find, kind of a situation. And I think the longer that it began to kind of sink into who we were and become thoroughly a part of our foundation around building the business, I just think there's no other name that better solidifies and signifies the way that we like to work, the way that we want our development of our business to be done in a very thorough way, not just fly by night, button together whatever we can. I think even just the way that we operate as relationship developers and as people that we work through, we want to have that thorough relationship, not just a quick and easy, simple. We want to be really integrated and involved, as much as we possibly can in helping be the support that our clients need in providing advisement and consultative response on things. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're not doing a thorough job, you're not doing it the right way. and I think ultimately the people that we get to support and work with every day, I want them to be thorough as well, Darren. I don't want them to create, different types of therapeutics or small molecule drugs or biologics or cell therapies or whatever, and not be thorough in the way that they develop their treatment and their therapy and their product. And so, I would hope that that would be an expectation both ways, that they would want us to be thorough as well.
Yeah, well said. Great point. Um, so we talked a little bit about us, right?
Yeah.
And a little bit about our background. But another why was that we'd get to partner with our wives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's talk a little bit about our leadership team too. Sean, it was so interesting. I started to calculate the years of experience that we have across our founding, our pioneering leadership team, and it almost totals up to 90 years of collective experience, right?
Wow.
Across human capital recruitment solutions, industry specific experiences, as well as the head of recruitment that we have currently on board, really touts close to 35 years of experience working on the sponsor side and working internally. And I think that's such a competitive advantage for us from an advantageous perspective on really the perspectives that we can offer, again, our candidates and clients that we work with, right? So your wife has recruitment background
Yeah.
experience coming up on 10 years when she first entered the recruitment industry. And my wife has 20 years of experience working in clinical operations, working for some of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, as well as working for agile, nimble biotech firms here in Southern California. So she brings a wealth of experience and really serves as a great sounding board. And that's why she's our executive advisor.
No, it's incredible to work with a team that day in and day out, people ask me all the time, what are some of the differentiators between your firm and other people that call on us? And, outside of the fact that they get to work with you and I and get to have very personalized, specific service and experience, is that our leadership team is not just figureheads, but are people that are involved in the day to day of the business. They're involved in every decision that we're making. And we have, to your point, a lot of good and, lessons learned experiences, right? Where, maybe we did not have the success we wanted in the moment, but we've got an entire encyclopedia. Look it up for those of you underneath the age of 35, 40 years old. We've got an encyclopedia of, history and experience on our side, that really allows us to streamline the process. And, one of the things I love, Darren, about having our wives involved is, they have a very large seat at the table and a voice in the decision making and involvement in what we do. And I think having our head of recruitment and your wife involved from 50 plus years of industry experience, directly on the sponsor side, is every decision that we make, every solution that we bring to the table, even from an innovative perspective, is run through the filter of how does this impact our end user and our client. And so, really makes a quick and specific impact on the end user that we ultimately are, we're claiming to support, but now we're following through with that as well.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. We're fortunate, right, to have the current team that we have on board, and it's a growing team. It's a growing team, as we continue to build those relationships externally. It only makes sense that we build the teams internally to be able to thoroughly provide those solutions, right, to the candidates and clients that are looking to partner with us. Speaking of solutions, you know, one of the things that we wanted to do, right, when we were thinking about starting Thorough Group was innovations. I opened up the podcast by saying we want to put the human back into human capital solutions. And Sean, over the years, right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel that parts of our industry, recruitment, staffing, consulting services, all of the above has started to become commoditized.
Yeah.
There is a true war for talent out there. Unemployment rates are still hovering around historic lows. And there is a high demand. There truly is, hence the war on talent. So, what we wanted to do is really position ourselves to be able to be that true partner, to offer
Mhm.
consultative services, not just think cookie cutter, but also ebb and flow with a demand that is ever changing. So for us, we provide a variety of solutions and we're able to really meet clients where they are and appropriately communicate what we can and cannot do. And, I've competed with firms in my career where they just focus on what they're unable to do, right? And I've seen
Yeah.
opportunity pass them by. I've seen them miss out on opportunities to really partner with getting a drug to market and
Yep.
ultimately helping cure a disease or really help patients live longer in a lot of different regards. So, can you speak to some of the innovations that we've been tinkering with in the lab and have been incubating?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think first and foremost, our industry is not a one size fits all. So why do we ask our clients to fit into that box as well? Right? I think that ultimately at the end of the day, solutions are fluid and can really be something that, we want to make sure that we reach with each individual client. So we've come up with some innovative things that we're really excited about, Darren. I think when I think about contingent search, I think that model has been about the same for as long as you and I can remember in terms of the way that people execute on that. And I think one of the things that we have come up with is a model that allows a balance between the work that we're putting in and the client's willingness to work with us to create the best overall experience with both sides being able to drive process toward completion in the most efficient and effective manner. And, but that also adds some value to the client from a delivery perspective, but also we want to make it a financially enticing thing for them to be able to reap the rewards of that as well, by working with us to make sure that we can be efficient and effective. And, we've also seen a lot of clients in the current landscape overwhelmed by working through traditional talent acquisition models, being able to review talent and really scope in on what the right talent they're looking for. So we've come up with some great innovative options for externally created, but replacing a lot of the internal review and presentation of candidates for client to help them to stay focused on the work that they love and they're passionate about and allow us to use our experience in the human capital space to streamline those candidates into a very clean and simple process for them. We also have, lastly, and I'll kick it back over to you, one of the other main things that we're working on right now is a really innovative extension for these emerging market biotech and pharmaceutical companies who maybe aren't quite in a place where it makes sense to have a full in-house resource, but also don't necessarily think that it's their best choice either to have a completely independent resource as well. And so they want to work with an organization like us to be able to have some of that type of support from someone who may be able to help them on the HR capacity, whether even if it's just organizationally setting them up, working through some different things. We have the ability to support them on an scalable HR solution for them that works the best and makes the most sense for them organizationally. And so, those are just some of the, top of mind things, Darren, that we're working on that are, out of the lab and ready to go. And the client feedback so far has been really, really positive on working with us in this model.
It's great, Sean. Um, I'm reminded one of our core values and the things that we focus on is relentless innovation,
Yep.
and that's paramount for us. And my dear Uncle Alan, who lives in Singapore, would remind me as I was starting off my career, and has continued to remind me throughout my career that Darren, he says, when the rate of change outside exceeds the rate of change inside, the end is in sight. And what that means to me is change is happening whether we like it or not, right? It's inevitable, right? But growth is optional. And
Mhm.
I've seen so many companies, as I've been really in my working career, refuse to change. And now they're a shell of themselves. or they're
Mm-hmm.
just no longer relevant. And
Yep.
for us, we don't want that to be our story, right? So again, when the rate of change outside exceeds the rate of change inside, the end is in sight. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to be in the lab. I'm continuing to glean wisdom from our candidates and clients because they have their finger on the pulse. So
Yep.
it's paramount that we keep their best interests on the forefront. Well, Sean, look, wow, our time has flown by. When you talk about something or some things that you're super passionate about, that's typically what happens, right? Time certainly
Yep.
flies by. And what I'll share with you, the audience, is in the coming weeks, we're going to be having, again, guests join. From the life sciences industry that work in pharma, biotech, human capital. They're going to be offering their insights, their thoughts, their experiences around relevant topics. And what we've done is we've reached out to a number of our valued clients that we've worked with and through over the many years and asked them, what would you like to hear? Right? What would you like to be discussed? Because we can pick topics all day long, given our vantage point, which I think is a comprehensive one. But when we layer that on top of what our candidates and clients are saying, I think that's going to make for an amazing platform where people can get equipped and informed. So, without further ado, as we wrap up this first episode of Talk Time with Thorough,
Yes, sir.
again, we're putting the human back in human capital solutions, but we're only able to do that, Sean. Only able to do that if we work as one and we win as one.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us. Stay tuned, and we look forward to connecting with you sometime soon. If you need more information, you can go to our website at thoroughgroup.com or find us on LinkedIn at Thorough Group. We're continuously and consistently posting content out there, and we'd love to hear from you. Bye bye now. We'll connect soon.
Thank you for joining us today for another great episode of Thoroughly Thriving. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to share it with those in your world. If you'd like to learn more about the Thorough Group, please go to thoroughgroup.com. And remember that we will all remain thoroughly thriving if we continue to work as one and win as one.